MD. But that's not the end of the blobfish's bizarre adaptations. It turns out its very existence challenges our fundamental understanding of what life can be and where it can thrive. So, you think you know blobfish? Think again, because nothing, and I mean nothing, about this gelatinous creature is normal, and the deeper you dive, the weirder it gets. We've already touched upon its unique buoyancy system, or rather, lack thereof. But let's really delve into what that means. Imagine trying to swim in the ocean without being able to control your depth. You'd constantly be fighting to stay at the right level, expending precious energy. Now imagine doing that at crushing depths, where the pressure is equivalent to having several elephants standing on your chest. The blobfish simply doesn't. It doesn't have to. Its gelatinous body is less dense than water, allowing it to float effortlessly above the seabed. Think about that for a second. Every other fish we know uses a swim bladder, a gas-filled organ that allows them to control their buoyancy. It's a delicate system, requiring constant adjustment to maintain the correct depth. But at extreme depths, these swim bladders become a liability. The immense pressure would compress the gas, potentially causing the bladder to implode. So the blobfish simply got rid of it. It opted for a low-density, gelatinous body that is perfectly adapted to the crushing pressures of the deep sea. It's like trading in a complex, high-performance engine for a simple, reliable one. It might not be as flashy, but it gets the job done, and it does it without breaking down under pressure. But this adaptation comes with a trade-off. On land, without the support of the water, the blobfish's gelatinous body collapses under its own weight, resulting in the sad, droopy face we've all come to associate with it. It's a bit like taking a deep-sea submarine and expecting it to fly. It's simply not designed for that environment. And that quote, zero? That's not the blobfish's natural expression. It's a distortion, a consequence of being brought to the surface. In its natural habitat, the blobfish looks quite different. It's still unusual, let's say, but it's certainly not as deflated and melancholic as the pictures suggest. In fact, scientists who have observed blobfish in their natural habitat using remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, describe them as being surprisingly active. They've been seen hovering just above the seabed, occasionally using their pectoral fins to propel themselves forward. They are ambush predators, lying in wait for unsuspecting crustaceans and other small invertebrates to wander within striking distance. It was quite surprising to see how mobile they actually were, Doctor. Imogen Smith, a marine biologist who has studied blobfish extensively, told me during a recent interview. We had always assumed that they were relatively sedentary creatures, simply drifting along with the current. But the ROV footage showed that they are capable of directed movement and can actively hunt for food. And what about their diet? What does a gelatinous fish with a perpetually sad expression eat? Well, it turns out that the blobfish is not a picky eater. It's an opportunistic feeder, consuming whatever small invertebrates happen to drift within its reach. Think small crustaceans, sea snails, and the occasional bit of organic detritus. It's basically the ocean's garbage disposal, albeit a very glum-looking one. Dr. Smith chuckled. This passive feeding strategy is perfectly suited to the extreme depths they inhabit. Down there, food is scarce and energy conservation is key. Chasing after prey would be a waste of precious resources. So, the blobfish simply waits for the buffet to come to it. But perhaps the most peculiar aspect of the blobfish is its reproductive strategy, or rather, the lack thereof. Scientists know very little about how these creatures reproduce. They've never observed blobfish mating in the wild, and they've never found blobfish eggs or larvae, Dr. Smith admitted. One theory is that blobfish are broadcast spawners, meaning they release their eggs and sperm into the water column and hope for the best. This is a common reproductive strategy among marine invertebrates, but it's less common among fish. Another theory is that blobfish are internal fertilizers, meaning the females carry the eggs inside their bodies until they hatch. This would be a more efficient way to reproduce in the deep sea, where finding a mate can be challenging. We simply don't have enough data to say for sure, Dr. Smith said. It's one of the many things that makes the blobfish so fascinating. It's a creature that defies easy explanation. The blobfish's elusiveness extends beyond its reproductive habits. Scientists have also struggled to estimate the size of the blobfish population. Because they live in such remote and inaccessible environments, it's difficult to conduct surveys or track their movements. We have some rough estimates based on troll surveys and ROV sightings, Dr. Smith explained. But these are just educated guesses. We really don't know how many blobfish are out there. This lack of information makes it difficult to assess the conservation status of the blobfish. The IUCN Red List currently classifies the blobfish as least concern, but this assessment is based on limited data. Some scientists believe that the blobfish may be more vulnerable to extinction than previously thought, particularly due to the threats of deep-sea trawling and climate change. Deep-sea trawling is a major concern, Dr. Smith said. These trawlers drag massive nets across the seafloor, indiscriminately catching everything in their path. Blobfish are often caught as bycatch, even though they're not commercially valuable. Climate change is another potential threat. As ocean temperatures rise and ocean acidification increases, the deep-sea environment is changing rapidly. It is unknown how blobfish will adapt to these changes, but it is possible that they could face habitat loss, reduced food availability, and increased competition from other species. The deep sea is a relatively stable environment, Dr. Ramirez explained. The animals that live there are adapted to very specific conditions. Even small changes in temperature or pH can have a big impact. But the blobfish's story isn't just about its physical oddities or its conservation status. It's also about how we perceive the natural world. The blobfish's unfortunate ugliness has made it a viral sensation, a symbol of the weird and wonderful creatures that inhabit our planet. But it's important to remember that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and that every species, no matter how strange or unusual, plays a vital role in the ecosystem. Quote 17. Noted Dr. Lee, sighing softly. Quote 18. The blobfish, in its own gelatin-house way, is a survivor. It's a testament to the power of adaptation and the resilience of life, and its story is far from over. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it, blobfish are weird, but they're adapted to their environment. What's so groundbreaking about that? Well, hold on to your hats, because this is where things get really interesting. The blobfish's adaptations aren't just about surviving in the deep sea. They're about challenging our very understanding of the limits of life itself. See, for decades, scientists believed that life as we know it required certain conditions to exist. Things like a stable energy source, liquid water, and a relatively narrow range of temperature and pressure. But the deep sea, where the blobfish lives, is anything but stable. It's a dark, cold, and incredibly high-pressure environment. And yet, life thrives there. The blobfish is just one example of the amazing diversity of life that can be found in the deep sea. But it's also a particularly intriguing example because its adaptations are so extreme. Its gelatinous body, for instance, is almost entirely devoid of muscle. This might seem like a disadvantage, but it's actually a brilliant adaptation to the high-pressure environment. Mussels require a lot of energy to maintain, and in the deep sea, energy is a scarce resource. By reducing its muscle mass, the blobfish is able to conserve energy and survive on a minimal diet. And its gelatinous body, which is mostly water, is perfectly suited to the high-pressure environment. It's essentially a pressure equalizing suit that allows the blobfish to maintain its shape and function without being crushed. But the blobfish's adaptations go even deeper than that. Scientists have discovered that its cells are different from those of most other animals. They contain special molecules that help them withstand the extreme pressure of the deep sea. These molecules, called piezolites, stabilize proteins and prevent them from being damaged by the high pressure. Piezolites are a relatively recent discovery, and scientists are still trying to understand exactly how they work. But what they do know is that these molecules are essential for the survival of the blobfish and other deep-sea creatures. They allow these animals to live in an environment that would be lethal to most other forms of life. The discovery of piezolites has profound implications for our understanding of the limits of life. It suggests that life may be able to exist in environments that we previously thought were uninhabitable. And that opens up the possibility that life may exist on other planets or moons that have similar extreme environments. The blobfish is a reminder that life is incredibly adaptable, explained marine biologist Dr. Anya Sharma, who has dedicated years to studying the unique biochemistry of deep-sea organisms. It can find a way to survive in even the most challenging conditions. And that's a very hopeful message, especially in a world that's facing so many environmental challenges. But here's the thing. The blobfish's existence is threatened, not by natural predators, but by human activity. Deep-sea trawling, a fishing method that involves dragging large nets along the ocean floor, is destroying the blobfish's habitat and killing countless individuals. Because blobfish are not commercially valuable, they are usually caught as bycatch, meaning they are unintentionally caught in nets targeting other species. This bycatch is often discarded, but the blobfish, unable to survive the rapid change in pressure as it's hauled to the surface, rarely survives. The problem is exacerbated by the fact that blobfish have a very slow reproductive rate. They don't reach sexual maturity until they're several years old, and they only lay a small number of eggs at a time. This means that their populations are slow to recover from disturbances such as deep-sea trawling. The International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, lists the blobfish as least concerned on its red list of threatened species. But this assessment is based on limited data, and many scientists believe that the blobfish is actually more vulnerable than the IUCN suggests. We really don't know how many blobfish are left in the ocean, admitted Dr. Sharma, her brow furrowed with concern. It's very difficult to study them in their natural habitat, and we don't have enough data to accurately assess their population size. But what we do know is that deep sea trawling is a serious threat, and that we need to take action to protect these animals before it's too late. The fate of the blobfish is a microcosm of the larger challenges facing the deep sea. This vast and largely unexplored realm is home to a wealth of biodiversity, but it's also increasingly threatened by human activities, such as fishing, mining, and pollution. Protecting the deep sea is not just about saving the blobfish. It's about preserving a vital part of our planet's ecosystem. The deep sea plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate and supporting marine life. And it's also a potential source of new medicines, technologies, and scientific discoveries. So, what can we do to protect the blobfish and the deep sea? Well, there are a number of things that can be done, from supporting sustainable fishing practices to reducing our consumption of single-use plastics. We can also advocate for stronger regulations to protect the deep sea from mining and other harmful activities. The blobfish, that seemingly unremarkable creature, holds a mirror to our own relationship with the planet. It forces us to confront our biases, to appreciate the diversity of life, and to recognize the importance of protecting even the most unusual and seemingly insignificant species. And really, isn't that something worth fighting for? Yeah. Isn't that a testament to the amazing, almost unbelievable story of life on Earth? But the blobfish's story doesn't end with conservation efforts. there's still so much we don't know about this enigmatic creature. For instance, what exactly do they eat? How do they find a mate in the vastness of the deep sea? And what other secrets are hidden within their gelatinous bodies? Scientists are continuing to study the blobfish, hoping to unlock its mysteries and gain a deeper understanding of the deep sea. And as they do, they're sure to uncover even more surprising and fascinating facts about this remarkable animal. The blobfish, in its own quiet way, is a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that there's still so much to discover about our planet and the life that it supports. And the more we learn, the more we realize how interconnected everything is and how important it is to protect every species, no matter how strange or unusual. The blobfish might be the underdog of the animal kingdom, but its story is one of resilience, adaptation, and the importance of embracing the weird and wonderful. It's a story that reminds us that beauty can be found in the most unexpected places and that every creature, no matter how seemingly insignificant, plays a vital role in the tapestry of life. And as we continue to explore the depths of our planet, we're sure to uncover even more amazing stories, stories that will challenge our understanding of the world and inspire us to protect it for generations to come. The blobfish, in its own gelatinous way, is a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest depths, life finds a way. So, what does the future hold for the blobfish? Well, that's a question with no easy answer. Climate change, deep-sea trawling, and pollution all pose significant threats to its fragile ecosystem. As our oceans warm and become more acidic, the delicate balance of life in the deep sea is disrupted. Deep-sea trawling, in particular, is devastating as it indiscriminately destroys the habitats that blobfish and other deep-sea creatures depend on. The nets scrape across the ocean floor, tearing up coral reefs, crushing deep-sea sponges, and leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. And even if the blobfish themselves aren't directly caught in these nets, the disruption of their ecosystem can have a cascading effect, impacting their food supply and their ability to reproduce. Pollution is another major concern. Plastics, chemicals, and other pollutants find their way into the ocean, eventually sinking to the deep sea. These pollutants can contaminate the blobfish's food source, poison them directly, or disrupt their delicate physiological processes. And because the blobfish lives in such a stable and isolated environment, it's particularly vulnerable to these kinds of disturbances. It hasn't evolved to cope with the rapid changes that we're now imposing on its habitat. But there is hope. Scientists and conservationists are working hard to understand the blobfish and its environment better, and to develop strategies to protect it. Marine protected areas can help to safeguard critical habitats from destructive fishing practices. Regulations on pollution can help to reduce the amount of harmful substances that enter the ocean. And public awareness campaigns can help to educate people about the importance of deep-sea conservation. One of the biggest challenges is simply the lack of knowledge about the deep sea. It's a vast and mysterious realm, and we've only explored a tiny fraction of it. We need to invest in more research and exploration so that we can better understand the ecosystems that exist there and the threats that they face. We need to develop new technologies that allow us to explore the deep sea in a sustainable way, without causing further damage. And we need to work together, across national boundaries, to protect this precious resource for future generations. The blobfish, despite its unusual appearance, is a valuable part of our planet's biodiversity. It plays a role in the deep sea ecosystem, and it can also teach us a lot about the limits of life and the power of adaptation. By studying the blobfish, we can gain new insights into the workings of evolution, the resilience of life, and the importance of conservation. We can also learn to appreciate the beauty and wonder of the natural world, even in the most unexpected places. The story of the blobfish is a reminder that we are all connected, that the fate of even the most obscure creature is intertwined with our own. What we do on land has a direct impact on the oceans, and what happens in the oceans affects us all. We have a responsibility to protect the planet, to safeguard its biodiversity, and to ensure that future generations can enjoy the same wonders that we do. The blobfish may not be conventionally beautiful, but it is a symbol of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest depths, life can thrive. And if we can protect the blobfish, we can protect so much more. We can protect the entire planet. We can protect ourselves. We can protect the future. The blobfish, in its own unique and undeniably blob-like way, urges us to remember that even the most unusual among us deserves our respect and protection. And perhaps, in learning to appreciate the blobfish, we can learn to appreciate ourselves and each other a little bit more too. If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe. Comment what you want to hear next. But the blobfish isn't just a victim of human interference. Its very existence challenges our preconceived notions about what life can be. We tend to think of life as needing certain conditions to flourish: warmth, sunlight, a stable environment. The blobfish throws all of that out the window, or rather, throws it down to the crushing depths of the ocean floor. Imagine trying to explain the blobfish to someone from another planet. You might start. They'd probably think you were making it up. And that's the beauty of it. The blobfish is a testament to the sheer adaptability of life. It's a reminder that life will find a way, even in the most extreme circumstances. It's a living, breathing, well, not breathing exactly, but you get the idea, example of evolution's boundless creativity. But let's delve a little deeper into the science behind the blob. How does it survive down there, in that crushing pressure? Well, the blobfish doesn't have a swim bladder, like most fish. A swim bladder is a gas-filled sac that helps fish control their buoyancy. But at the depths where the blobfish lives, a swim bladder would be crushed instantly. Instead, the blobfish has evolved to be, well, squishy. Its body is made up of a gelatinous mass, which is slightly less dense than water. This allows it to float just above the seafloor without having to expend any energy swimming. It's like a living, breathing, again, not really breathing, balloon, perfectly adapted to its environment. Think about that for a moment. Evolution has sculpted this creature over millions of years into the perfect form for survival in this extreme environment. It's a masterpiece of natural engineering, a testament to the power of adaptation. And what about food? Down there in the deep, food is scarce. There's no sunlight, so no plants can grow. The blobfish is an opportunistic feeder, meaning it eats whatever happens to drift by. This could include small crustaceans, bits of organic matter, or even dead animals that have sunk to the bottom. It's not a glamorous diet, but it works. The blobfish has a slow metabolism, meaning it doesn't need to eat very often. It can survive for long periods between meals, conserving energy until the next tasty morsel floats within reach. But perhaps the most fascinating thing about the blobfish is its reproductive strategy. We don't know a whole lot about how blobfish reproduce, but scientists believe they lay their eggs on the sea floor. And here's the amazing part. The parents actually guard the eggs, protecting them from predators until they hatch. Imagine that. These gelatinous blobs living in the crushing darkness of the deep.